kind of therapeutic, because I haven't been able to talk about it with anyone who wasn't directly involved. So, let me give you some context. I'm 22 years old, and I just graduated from Northwestern University with a degree in software engineering. This was a huge deal for me. I was the first person in my entire family to graduate from a 4-year university, and I did it with honors while working 2 part-time jobs to help cover expenses that my scholarships didn't handle. My parents helped where they could, but we weren't exactly swimming in money. So I was incredibly proud of what I'd accomplished on my own. About 6 months before graduation, I landed an amazing job offer at a tech company in Chicago. The salary was more than I ever imagined making right out of college, and they gave me a signing bonus of $15,000. I was over the moon. After years of eating ramen and stressing about textbooks, I finally had some financial breathing room. Now, here's where the family dynamics come into play. My dad, Robert Taylor, remarried when I was 15 to a woman named Patricia Morgan. Patricia came into the marriage with her own daughter, Vanessa Morgan, who was 13 at the time. My biological mom passed away when I was 12, so this was a really complicated transition for me. I tried my best to be welcoming, but Patricia and Vanessa always made it clear that they were doing me a favor by joining our family. My dad was so in love with Patricia that he kind of became blind to how she and Vanessa treated me over the years. It wasn't anything dramatic at first, just little things. Vanessa would borrow my clothes without asking and return them damaged. Patricia would make passive-aggressive comments about my appearance or my career choices, always disguised as helpful advice. If I called them out, my dad would tell me I was being too sensitive, or that I needed to make more of an effort to bond with them. Eventually, I just learned to keep my distance and focus on school. Fast forward to January of this year. I was in my final semester, and I was so excited about graduation. I called my dad and told him I wanted to have a graduation party to celebrate. Nothing huge, just family, close friends, maybe 50 people total. I'd been looking at venues in my hometown of Naperville, which is about 40 minutes outside Chicago. There was this beautiful event space called the Riverside Pavilion that had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a lake. It was absolutely perfect, and the pricing was reasonable. My dad was thrilled. He told me how proud he was and that he wanted to help contribute to the party. We talked about dates, and I suggested Saturday, May 10th, which was the weekend after my graduation ceremony. He said it sounded perfect and that he'd talked to Patricia about it. 2 days later, my dad called me back. His tone was different, kind of hesitant and uncomfortable. He said, "Jana, honey, we need to talk about the party date." My stomach immediately dropped because I could tell something was wrong, he explained. That Vanessa had just found out she was pregnant. Surprise. Number 1, and she was already 5 months along. Apparently, she'd been hiding it because the pregnancy wasn't planned, and she wasn't sure what she wanted to do. But now she'd decided to keep the baby, and Patricia was insisting on throwing her a baby shower to celebrate and show family support. Here's where it gets ridiculous. Patricia had apparently already booked the Riverside Pavilion for Vanessa's baby shower on May 10th. The exact date I'd told them I wanted for my graduation party. The exact venue I'd shown my dad pictures of. I was stunned. I said, "Dad, I told you about that date first. I showed you that venue. How did this happen?" He got defensive immediately. He said Patricia had called the venue right after our conversation because she happened to be looking for baby shower locations and thought it would be perfect. When she realized it was the same place I wanted, she'd already put down a deposit. And the venue had a strict no-refund policy. I asked why they didn't just pick a different date or a different venue. And my dad actually said, "Well, Vanessa's baby shower is time-sensitive because of her pregnancy timeline. Your graduation has already happened. You can celebrate any time." I was speechless. Literally speechless. I tried to explain that graduation parties are typically held close to the actual graduation date, and that this was a huge milestone for me. He just kept saying that the family needed to support each other during important life events, and that Vanessa's pregnancy was delicate, and she needed all the support she could get. Then came the real kicker. He said, "Why don't you just come to the baby shower? We can announce your graduation there too. It'll be nice to celebrate both things together. I actually laughed out loud. I said, Dad, are you seriously suggesting that I share my graduation party with Vanessa's baby shower? At the venue I picked? On the date I chose? He got frustrated and said I was making everything about myself. He said that's always been my problem. I can't be happy for other people's success, and I always need to be the center of attention. This coming from the man who'd watched me work myself to exhaustion for 4 years, while his stepdaughter partied her way through community college before dropping out. I told him I needed time to think, and I hung up. I was furious, hurt, and honestly just exhausted. This was supposed to be my moment, and once again, I was being pushed aside for Vanessa. I called my best friend, Maya Richardson, and told her everything. Maya has known me since freshman year of college, and she's seen how my family treats me. She was livid. She said, Gianna, you have that signing bonus sitting in your account. Why don't you just book your own venue and throw your own party? At first, I brushed it off. It seemed petty and dramatic. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized she was right. Why should I give up my celebration just because Patricia and Vanessa decided to take over my plans? I'd worked too hard for this moment to let them steal it from me. So I started looking at venues again. Most places were booked for May because it's prime graduation and wedding season. I was getting discouraged until I stumbled across something interesting. There was another event space called the Garden Terrace that was literally next door to the Riverside Pavilion. Like they shared a parking lot. It was actually nicer than the Riverside Pavilion. It had an outdoor area with string lights, a better sound system, and could accommodate up to 100 people. The price was steep, almost $8,000 for the full package with catering, but I had the money. I sat there staring at my laptop screen, thinking about whether I really wanted to do this. Then I got a text from Vanessa. It said, Hey Gianna, so excited you'll be at my baby shower. Mom's doing such an amazing job planning it. Hope you don't mind that we took your venue, lol. But seriously, it's going to be so cute. That text made my decision for me. The casual dismissiveness, the lol, like my feelings didn't matter at all. I was done being the family doormat. I booked the Garden Terrace on the spot. I put down the full deposit and started planning the graduation party I'd always wanted. And I didn't tell my family a single thing about it. The morning after I booked the Garden Terrace, I woke up with this mix of excitement and anxiety. I'd just dropped a significant chunk of money on a party venue, and I hadn't told anyone in my family about it. Part of me wondered if I was being childish, but then I remembered Vanessa's text message, and that feeling evaporated pretty quickly. I met with the event coordinator at the Garden Terrace that Tuesday. Her name was Lauren Peters, and she was incredibly professional and enthusiastic. When I explained that I was celebrating my graduation, she got genuinely excited and started showing me all these amazing options for decorations, catering, and entertainment. Lauren mentioned that they had another event booked next door at the Riverside Pavilion on the same day. I played dumb and asked what kind of event it was. She checked her system and said, "Oh, it's a baby shower for Vanessa Morgan." My heart rate jumped, but I kept my face neutral. Lauren continued, "Actually, it's interesting. They specifically requested that we keep our music volume down because the mother-to-be is sensitive to noise. We had to note it in our system." I couldn't help but smile. Vanessa had always been dramatic about everything, so of course she'd make demands about the neighboring venue's noise level. I assured Lauren that we had no such restrictions and that I actually wanted a great DJ and a solid sound system. Her eyes lit up and she said, "Perfect. We have an incredible DJ named Marcus. Wait, sorry, I meant Tony Bradford. He's done events for us before and really knows how to keep the energy high." We spent the next 2 hours planning every detail. I chose a navy blue and gold color scheme, my school colors. We arranged for a catering menu with actually good food, a carving station, pasta bar, gourmet appetizers, and a dessert table that would make anyone jealous. Lauren suggested hiring a photographer, and I agreed immediately. If I was doing this, I was doing it right. The total came to $9,200 after all the additions. I transferred the money that same day. There was no backing out now. Next came the guest list, And this is where things got strategic. I made a spreadsheet. Yes, a literal spreadsheet. Because I'm an engineer and that's how I operate, with 3 categories: definite invites, shared contacts, and family. The definite invites were easy. Maya, obviously, plus about 20 friends from college. My former professors who'd written recommendation letters. My coworkers from both of my part-time jobs who'd covered shifts when I had exams. My roommate, Kayla Henderson, and her boyfriend. These were people who'd actually been there for me during the hardest 4 years of my life. A lot of love and effort went into bringing this story to life. If you're enjoying it, we'd be so grateful if you'd subscribe to our channel. Now back to where we left off. The shared contacts category was more complicated. These were people who knew both me and Vanessa, extended family members, family friends, neighbors. I knew some of them had probably already received invitations to Vanessa's baby shower. My dad's brother, Uncle James Taylor, and his wife, Aunt Sharon. My dad's work colleagues. Some of our longtime neighbors from when I was growing up. Here's what I decided. I was going to invite them anyway. All of them. I created beautiful digital invitations using Canva with my graduation photo in my cap and gown. The invitation read, "Join us in celebrating Gianna Taylor's graduation from Northwestern University with honors. Saturday, May 10th, 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Garden Terrace." I included the full address and added, "Dinner, drinks, and dancing to celebrate this incredible milestone." I sent out the invitations 2 weeks after I'd received that text from Vanessa. I specifically scheduled them to go out at 9:10 a.m. on a Thursday morning, a time when people would be checking their emails but wouldn't be too busy to respond. The responses started rolling in within hours. Maya texted me immediately. "Gianna, this is going to be amazing. I'm so proud of you for not letting them push you around." Kayla called me during her lunch break. "I knew you'd figure something out. This venue looks incredible. Can I bring anything?" But the really interesting responses came from the shared contacts. Uncle James called me that evening. He sounded confused. "Gianna, honey, I got your invitation. This is wonderful, but I'm a little confused about the timing. We also got an invitation to Vanessa's baby shower at the Riverside Pavilion." "That's the same day, isn't it?" I took a deep breath. "Yes, Uncle James, it is." They booked the venue I'd chosen for my graduation party, and when I asked them to pick a different date, they told me I should just share the celebration with Vanessa's baby shower. So I decided to throw my own party instead. There was a long pause. Then he said, "You know what? Your Aunt Sharon and I will be at your party. What they did wasn't right, and we're proud of you for standing up for yourself." "Congratulations on everything you've accomplished, sweetheart." I almost cried. Uncle James had always been kind to me, even after my dad remarried, and knowing he was on my side meant everything. Over the next few days, I got similar calls from other relatives. My dad's cousin, Ellen Russo, said she'd be coming to my party with her husband and 2 kids. A few of my dad's work friends reached out saying they'd see me at the Garden Terrace. Mrs. Angela Foster, our neighbor who'd known me since I was 8, said she wouldn't miss it for the world and asked if she could bring her famous chocolate cake. Not everyone chose my party, of course. Some people politely declined both events, citing schedule conflicts. Others didn't respond at all, which I interpreted as them choosing Vanessa's baby shower. That stung a little, but I understood. Patricia had been working the family network for years, and she was good at making people feel obligated to her. Then came the call I'd been dreading. 4 days after I sent out the invitations, my phone rang. It was my dad. "Gianna Marie Taylor, what the hell do you think you're doing?" He only used my full name when he was really angry. I stayed calm. "Hi, Dad, what's wrong?" "Don't play dumb with me. Patricia just found out you're throwing a party on the same day as Vanessa's baby shower, at the venue right next door. Are you kidding me right now?" "I'm celebrating my graduation," I said simply. "You told me I could celebrate any time, so I picked the date that worked best for me." Which happened to be May 10th. "You know damn well what you're doing," he shouted. "You're trying to sabotage Vanessa's baby shower because you're jealous." That word, jealous, made something snap inside me. Jealous of what exactly, Dad? Jealous that she's pregnant at 20 with no job, no education, and no plan? Jealous that you and Patricia enabled her every bad decision while I had to work 2 jobs to get through college? I'm not jealous. I'm just tired of being treated like I don't matter. You're being incredibly selfish, he said, his voice cold. This is a special time for Vanessa. She's scared about becoming a mother, and Patricia is trying to make this beautiful memory for her. And you're turning it into a competition. I didn't make this a competition, I shot back. They took my venue and my date. I just found a different venue on the same date. If Vanessa's baby shower is really about celebrating her pregnancy, why does it matter that I'm having my graduation party nearby? Because you're inviting all the same people. You're forcing everyone to choose between you and Vanessa. No, Dad. You forced me to choose between having a graduation party and being the bigger person. I chose to have my party. If people want to come, they're welcome. If they want to go to Vanessa's shower, that's fine too. I'm not stopping anyone from doing anything. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said something that really hurt. Your mother would be so disappointed in you right now. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. Bringing up my dead mother to guilt me was a new low, even for him. Don't you dare, I said, my voice shaking. Mom would have been proud that I graduated with honors. Mom would have thrown me the party you should have thrown me. And Mom would never have let anyone treat me the way you've let Patricia and Vanessa treat me for 7 years. He hung up on me. I sat there staring at my phone, shaking with adrenaline and hurt. Maya came home about 20 minutes later and found me crying on the couch. She hugged me and let me vent, and then she said something I'll never forget. Jonna, you've spent your whole life making yourself smaller so other people could feel bigger. It's okay to take up space. It's okay to celebrate yourself. She was right. I'd apologized for existing in that family for years, and I was done. The next 3 weeks were a whirlwind of final preparations. I finalized the menu with Lauren, approved the decorations, met with Tony the DJ to create a playlist, and confirmed all the details with the photographer. I also went shopping with Maya and Kayla and bought a stunning emerald green dress that made me feel like a completely different person, confident, beautiful, and unapologetic. My dad didn't call me again. Neither did Patricia or Vanessa. The silence from that side of my family was deafening, but I'd expected it. What I didn't expect was the amount of support I received from everyone else, my college friends. Created a group chat called Gianna's Graduation Celebration Squad where they planned surprises for the party. Uncle James sent me a generous check as a graduation gift with a note that said, "For the future. We're proud of you." Mrs. Foster stopped by my apartment with that chocolate cake she'd promised, just to test it out and tell me how excited she was for the party. The Thursday before the party, I received a text from an unknown number. It said, "This is Vanessa. Mom wanted me to tell you that you're not welcome at the baby shower anymore since you decided to be petty and throw your own party. Hope you're happy with yourself." I stared at that text for a long time. Then I replied, "I was never planning to attend anyway. Enjoy your shower." She didn't respond. 3 days until the party. 3 days until I'd either pull off the celebration of a lifetime or completely humiliate myself in front of everyone I'd ever known. I was terrified and excited in equal measure, but I'd made my choice, and I wasn't backing down. Friday, May 9th. 24 hours before everything would either come together perfectly or blow up spectacularly in my face. I woke up at 6 a.m. to 17 text messages, most of them from the Graduation Celebration Squad group chat. Maya had organized a prep day where my college friends would come over to help me with last-minute details. I hadn't asked them to do this. They'd just decided on their own that I needed support and moral reinforcement. Honestly, I was grateful because I'd barely slept the night before, running through everything that could go wrong. Kayla made coffee while I reviewed my checklist for the 1,000th time. The photographer was confirmed. The DJ had the final playlist. The caterers would arrive at 1 p.m. on Saturday to set up. Lauren from the garden terrace had sent me an email at midnight. She clearly didn't sleep either, confirming that the decorations would be installed by noon on Saturday, and that everything was proceeding exactly as planned. Around 9 a.m., Maya arrived with 3 other friends from college. Destiny Parker, who'd been my study partner for every brutal engineering exam. Chris Wallace, who'd lived in my dorm freshman year and stayed friends with our whole group. And Sophie Martinez, who I'd worked with at the campus library for 2 years. They came armed with bagels, more coffee, and enough enthusiasm to power a small city. "Okay, graduate," Destiny announced, dropping shopping bags on my kitchen counter. "We're here to make sure you look absolutely incredible tomorrow. We're doing a full dress rehearsal, hair and makeup trial, the whole thing." I tried to protest that it wasn't necessary, but Sophie cut me off. "Gianna, you're throwing the party of the century right next to your evil stepfamily's event. You need to look so good that everyone who sees you will instantly know they chose the right party." She wasn't wrong. I'd bought that emerald green dress weeks ago, but I hadn't actually tried it on with shoes and accessories yet. We spent the next 2 hours turning my apartment into a makeshift salon. Destiny, who was scarily good at makeup, practiced several different looks on me. Sophie had brought 3 different pairs of heels for me to try. Chris, who claimed he was just there for moral support, actually gave surprisingly good fashion advice. At around 11:30 a.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Hello? Gianna, this is Bethany Cooper. I'm the event coordinator at the Riverside Pavilion." My stomach dropped. Why was Vanessa's venue coordinator calling me? "Hi, Bethany. Is something wrong?" She sounded uncomfortable. "I'm calling because we've had a rather unusual request from the Morgan party. They've asked us to contact the Garden Terrace and request that your event doesn't use their outdoor space during the same hours as their baby shower." I blinked. "I'm sorry, what?" "Apparently, Mrs. Patricia Morgan is concerned that noise from your outdoor area might disturb their event. She's asking if you'd be willing to keep your celebration indoors." The audacity was breathtaking. They'd stolen my venue and date, and now they wanted to control what I did at my own separate party? "Bethany," I said carefully, "I appreciate you calling, but I've paid for full access to the Garden Terrace, including the outdoor space. I'm not making any changes to my event." "I completely understand," she said quickly. "Between you and me, I think the request was inappropriate, but I was asked to reach out. I've let Mrs. Morgan know that we have no authority over what happens at the neighboring venue." "Thank you for handling that professionally," I said. After I hung up, Maya looked at me with wide eyes. "What was that about?" I explained, and everyone in the room erupted with indignation. Chris said what we were all thinking. They're scared. They know people are going to see your party and realize theirs is boring by comparison. That thought hadn't occurred to me, but it made sense. Patricia had probably planned some pastel-colored, Instagram-worthy baby shower with finger sandwiches and sparkling cider. Meanwhile, I had a DJ, a full bar, professional catering, and an actual party atmosphere. They weren't concerned about noise. They were concerned about being upstaged. Around 1 p.m., my phone buzzed with a text from Uncle James. "Your cousin Tyler is driving in from Milwaukee for your party tomorrow. He wanted to surprise you. Just wanted to give you a heads up so you can add him to the count if needed." Tyler was Uncle James's son, and we'd been close growing up before my family situation got complicated. I hadn't seen him in almost 2 years because he'd been deployed overseas with the Army. The fact that he was driving 3 hours just for my graduation party made me emotional. I texted Lauren immediately. "To add one more guest to the count," she responded within 5 minutes. "No problem. So excited for tomorrow. Quick update. We just finished setting up the string lights in the outdoor area and it looks magical. You're going to love it." The afternoon turned into an impromptu party planning strategy session. My friends insisted we needed to document everything for social media. Sophie, who ran a successful lifestyle Instagram account, volunteered to be my unofficial social media manager for the event. She'd capture photos and videos that we could post to show everyone what they were missing if they'd chosen the other party. "We're not being petty," Sophie insisted when I hesitated. "We're documenting your achievement. If it happens to make certain people regret their choices, that's just a bonus." Destiny suggested we create a custom hashtag. After throwing around several options, we settled on Gianna's Grad Glow Up. It was cheesy, but perfect. Around 4 p.m., Kayla's boyfriend, Derek Johnson, stopped by with his friend Nathan Price, who apparently did videography as a side business. Derek had hired Nathan as a surprise gift to create a professional highlight video of my party. "You need to have this documented properly," Derek said. "Years from now, you're going to want to remember the night you stood up for yourself." I was overwhelmed by how much people cared. These were friends who'd seen me struggle through late-night study sessions, watched me stress about finances, and heard me vent about my family. They knew what this party represented. It wasn't just about graduation. It was about finally refusing to be invisible. At 6 p.m., we ordered pizza and sat around my living room, and that's when Chris brought up something I hadn't considered. "What are you going to do if your dad shows up tomorrow?" The room went quiet. I'd been so focused on planning the perfect party that I hadn't thought about the possibility of my dad, or Patricia, or Vanessa actually coming to the garden terrace to confront me. "They won't," I said, though I wasn't entirely sure. "They'll be too busy with the baby shower." "But what if they do?" Maya pressed. "What if your dad feels guilty and tries to show up? Or what if Patricia comes over to cause a scene?" It was a valid concern. I thought about it for a moment, then said, "If my dad shows up because he genuinely wants to celebrate with me, he's welcome. If Patricia or Vanessa show up to start drama, Lauren has security on staff who can escort them out. I paid for that venue. It's my space tomorrow." Destiny raised her glass of soda. "That's the energy we need tomorrow. This is your day, Gianna. Not theirs. We all toasted to that." By 9 p.m., everyone had left, and I was alone with my thoughts. I did one final check of my email. Confirmation from the caterers, confirmation from the DJ, confirmation from the photographer, confirmation from Nathan about the videography. Everything was set. I pulled up social media out of curiosity. Vanessa had posted several Instagram stories about her baby shower preparations. There were photos of pastel blue decorations, a dessert table with themed cupcakes, and a caption that said, "Can't wait to celebrate baby boy Morgan tomorrow with all my favorite people." So blessed. I noticed she had about 200 likes and dozens of comments. I recognized some of the names, family members, her friends, some of my dad's colleagues, people who'd chosen her shower over my party or who'd never received my invitation at all. For a split second, I felt a pang of doubt. Was I being petty? Was I making this into a bigger deal than it needed to be? Then I remembered my dad telling me my mom would be disappointed in me. I remembered Patricia taking my venue without a second thought. I remembered Vanessa's, "Hope you don't mind that we took your venue, Lyle," text. No, I wasn't being petty. I was celebrating myself for once, and I wasn't going to apologize for it. I posted a single story on my own Instagram, just a photo of my graduation cap and diploma with the caption, "Tomorrow we celebrate." When did Gianna's grad glow up? Within minutes, comments started rolling in. Friends, classmates, former coworkers, people I hadn't talked to in months, all congratulating me and saying they wished they could be there. Maya commented, "The party of the year, can't wait." I turned off my phone and tried to sleep. Tomorrow will be intense, emotional, and possibly chaotic, but it would also be mine. My celebration, my moment, and I was ready for it. Whatever happened at the Riverside Pavilion next door was their business. I had my own party to shine at, Saturday, May 10th. The day I'd been dreading and anticipating in equal measure for weeks. I woke up at 7 a.m. even though my alarm wasn't set until 8:30. My stomach was doing flips, and I couldn't tell if it was excitement or pure anxiety. Maya had stayed over the night before, and she was already awake when I stumbled into the kitchen. She'd made breakfast, scrambled eggs, toast, and fresh fruit, which she basically forced me to eat because she knew I'd be too nervous to remember food once the day got started. "You need energy," she said, sliding a plate in front of me. "Today's going to be a marathon, not a sprint. Eat." I managed to get down about half the plate before my phone started buzzing with good luck messages. Sophie sent a gif of Beyoncé with the caption, "It's your day, Queen." Chris texted, "About to witness the most legendary party in Naperville history. Let's go! Even some of my old professors sent encouragement. At 10 a.m., Destiny and Sophie arrived at my apartment with their makeup kits and styling tools. They'd coordinated this whole thing like a military operation. Destiny immediately started organizing her makeup brushes while Sophie plugged in her curling iron and pulled out what looked like a professional hairstyling kit. Okay, here's the timeline, Sophie announced, checking her phone. We have 3 hours to get you red carpet ready. Hair first, then makeup, then dress. We'll arrive at the venue by 2 p.m., which gives us an hour before guests start arriving at 3 hours. The next 3 hours were a blur of hair products, makeup palettes, and my friends hyping me up while they worked. Destiny gave me a full glam look, dramatic eyeliner, perfectly blended eyeshadow in gold and bronze tones that complemented my emerald dress, highlighter that made my cheekbones look like they could cut glass. Sophie curled my hair into these loose, elegant waves that cascaded over my shoulders. When they finally let me look in the mirror, I barely recognized myself. I looked confident, powerful, like someone who knew exactly what she deserved and wasn't afraid to claim it. Oh my God, I whispered. You guys... We know, Destiny said, grinning. You look incredible. At 1:30 p.m., I carefully put on the emerald green dress. It fit perfectly. A knee-length cocktail dress with a subtle shimmer in the fabric that caught the light when I moved. I paired it with silver heels that Sophie had helped me pick out and simple jewelry that my mom had left me, a delicate silver necklace and matching earrings. Maya took one look at me and her eyes got watery. Your mom would be so proud of you right now. That almost broke me, but I held it together. I couldn't cry and ruin Destiny's makeup masterpiece before the party even started. We arrived at the garden terrace at exactly 2 p.m. The moment I walked in, I was blown away. Lauren and her team had transformed the space into something magical. The navy blue and gold decorations were perfectly coordinated. Elegant table settings, gold Chiavari chairs, centerpieces with white roses and gold accents. The outdoor area was even more stunning than I'd imagined, with string lights creating a canopy of warm light over the patio. Lauren met me at the entrance with a huge smile. Gianna, you look absolutely beautiful. Welcome to your party. She walked me through the space, showing me where everything would be set up. The DJ booth was in the corner of the main room. The catering station was along the back wall with the carving station, pasta bar, and appetizer displays. The dessert table, featuring a 3-tier navy and gold cake with my graduation cap as a topper, was positioned perfectly for photos. The photographer will be here in 20 minutes, Lauren said, checking her tablet. Your videographer Nathan is already here setting up. And Tony the DJ just arrived and is doing his sound check. I could hear music playing softly from the DJ booth. Tony was testing the system. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, I could see into the parking lot that the garden terrace shared with the Riverside Pavilion next door. That's when I saw it. Cars were already arriving at the Riverside Pavilion. I recognized Patricia's white SUV. Several other vehicles that I knew belonged to family members. The baby shower was scheduled to start at 2:30 p.m., a half hour before my party. My heart rate spiked. This was really happening. Both events, side by side, at the same time. Sophie noticed where I was looking. Don't think about them, she said firmly. Today is about you. They're background noise. She was right. I turned away from the window and focused on my own space. Nathan came over to introduce himself properly. He was in his late 20s, professional, but friendly with 2 cameras hanging around his neck. I'm going to be capturing everything today, he said. Candid moments, speeches if there are any, dancing, guest interactions, all of it. Just pretend I'm not here and enjoy your night. At 2:45 p.m., the first guests started arriving. My old roommate Kayla and her boyfriend Derek were first, followed quickly by a group of my college friends. They all reacted the exact same way when they walked in, eyes going wide, mouths dropping open, exclaiming about how beautiful everything looked. By 3:15 p.m., the venue was filling up nicely. Uncle James and Aunt Sharon arrived with my cousin. Tyler, who looked so different in civilian clothes after years of seeing him only in army photos. He gave me this huge bear hug and said, "I'm so proud of you, Gianna. You did it." Mrs. Foster arrived with not one but two of her famous chocolate cakes because she wanted to make sure there was enough. Several of my dad's work colleagues showed up, people who'd known me since I was a kid and had watched me grow up. They all made a point of telling me how proud they were and how much they'd been looking forward to celebrating with me. What struck me was the energy. People weren't just showing up out of obligation. They were genuinely happy to be there. The conversations were flowing, people were laughing. The music was perfect background volume while guests mingled. At 3:45 p.m., something interesting happened. I was talking to Destiny near the windows when we noticed several people walking through the parking lot from the Riverside Pavilion toward the garden terrace. At first, I thought they were just passing through, but then they came inside. It was my dad's cousin Ellen and her family. They'd apparently gone to the baby shower first, stayed for about 30 minutes, and then decided to come to my party instead. Ellen came straight up to me with an apologetic smile. "Gianna, honey, I'm so sorry we went there first. We thought we'd just pop in to say congratulations to Vanessa and then spend the real time here with you. But I have to tell you," she leaned in conspiratorially, "your party is already way better, and we just got here." More guests arrived. The venue was getting crowded in the best way possible. Tony the DJ started playing more upbeat music, and people naturally started moving toward the dance floor. The caterers brought out the appetizers, and I watched guests' faces light up when they tried the food. Around 4:30 p.m., I was standing with Maya when she suddenly grabbed my arm. "Gianna, don't look now, but your dad just pulled into the parking lot." My stomach dropped. I looked through the window and saw my dad getting out of his car. He was wearing a suit, which was unusual. He typically dressed casually. He stood in the parking lot for a long moment, looking back and forth between the Riverside Pavilion and the garden terrace. I held my breath, waiting to see what he would do. He started walking toward the Riverside Pavilion. I watched him disappear into Vanessa's baby shower, and I felt this weird mixture of relief and disappointment. Part of me had hoped he'd choose my party, that he'd realize how badly he'd messed up and try to make it right. But he'd made his choice, just like I'd made mine. "His loss," Maya said quietly. She was right. I couldn't let this ruin my night. I turned away from the window and threw myself back into the celebration. By 5 p.m., the party was in full swing. The dance floor was packed. People were eating, drinking, laughing, and taking photos in front of the beautiful decorations. Nathan was weaving through the crowd, capturing everything. Sophie was managing the social media content like a pro, posting photos to my Instagram story with the Mom Gianna's Grad Glow Up hashtag. Uncle James found me near the dessert table and pulled me aside. "Gianna, I wanted to tell you something. Your Aunt Sharon and I stopped by the baby shower before coming here because we wanted to be supportive of both events." I braced myself for criticism. "But sweetheart," he continued, "there's no comparison. That shower is exactly what you'd expect. Some games, some cake, people sitting around making small talk. It's fine, but it's just fine. This?" He gestured around the room. "This is a real celebration. You should be proud of what you've created here, and more importantly, you should be proud that you didn't let anyone make you feel small." I hugged him tightly, fighting back tears for the second time that day. At 5:30 p.m., Chris came running up to me with a huge grin. "Okay, you need to see something. Come here." He pulled me toward the windows facing the parking lot. Several more cars were arriving, and people were getting out. But instead of going to the Riverside Pavilion, they were walking toward the garden terrace. "Those are people who were invited to both parties," Chris explained. "Word is spreading that your party is the place to be. They're switching sides." I watched in disbelief as more guests trickled over from the baby shower to my graduation celebration. It wasn't a mass exodus or anything dramatic, just a steady stream of people making a choice. My party was becoming the main event, and the baby shower next door was becoming the afterthought. Lauren appeared at my elbow with a glass of champagne. "Congratulations, Gianna. Not just on your graduation, but on throwing the best party I've seen at this venue in 3 years. You're absolutely killing it." I took the champagne and looked around at the scene. Friends dancing, family laughing, guests enjoying themselves, everyone celebrating me and what I'd accomplished. This was exactly what I'd wanted. This was exactly what I deserved. The night was just getting started, and I knew the best was yet to come. At 6:15 p.m., I was on the dance floor with Maya, Destiny, and Sophie when I saw Lauren weaving through the crowd toward me with an urgent expression. My first thought was that something had gone wrong with the catering or the sound system, but the look on her face told me it was something else entirely. She leaned in close so I could hear her over the music. "Gianna, Patricia Morgan just walked in. She's asking to speak with you." My blood ran cold. "Where is she?" "I told her to wait in the lobby area. I didn't want her disrupting your party without your permission. Do you want me to have security escort her out?" Part of me wanted to say yes, but another part of me, the part that had spent 7 years biting my tongue and taking the high road, wanted to face this head on. "No," I said. "I'll talk to her. But can you stay nearby just in case?" Lauren nodded. "Absolutely. And Nathan is aware of the situation. He'll keep his distance, but he's ready if anything escalates." I followed Lauren to the lobby area, which was separated from the main party space by a set of elegant glass doors. Through them, I could see Patricia standing there in a pale pink dress, her arms crossed, looking absolutely furious. I took a deep breath and pushed through the doors. The music from the party became muffled background noise. "Hello, Patricia." She whirled around to face me, and I could see her eyes were blazing. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" "I'm having my graduation party," I said calmly. "What are you doing here?" "Don't play innocent with me, Gianna. You knew exactly what you were doing when you booked this venue. You're trying to sabotage Vanessa's baby shower out of pure spite." I felt my jaw tighten, but I kept my voice level. "I booked my own venue for my own party. What you do next door has nothing to do with me." "Nothing to do with you." She stepped closer, her voice rising. "You invited all the same people. You're pulling guests away from Vanessa's shower. Do you know how humiliating this is for her? Half the people who RSVP'd yes to her shower are over here instead." "That's not my problem," I said. "Those people made their own choices. I didn't force anyone to come here. You knew this would happen. You threw this elaborate party just to show up Vanessa on her special day." Something inside me snapped. "Her special day? Patricia, this was supposed to be my special day. I told you and my dad about my graduation party first. I showed him this venue, and you took it from me like my accomplishments didn't matter. So yes, I booked my own venue and threw my own party, because I refuse to let you make me invisible anymore." "You're being selfish and childish," she hissed. "Vanessa is pregnant and scared, and all you care about is yourself." "All I care about is myself?" I could feel my voice starting to shake with anger. I worked 2 jobs while getting a degree with honors. I got hired at a top tech company. I did all of that without anyone in this family acknowledging it or supporting me, and when I wanted one day to celebrate, you took it from me. You don't get to call me selfish for refusing to give up my celebration?" Patricia's face was turning red. "Your father is so disappointed in you. Do you know that? He's over at the shower right now, ashamed of how you're behaving. That hurt, but I didn't let it show. If my dad is disappointed, he can come tell me himself. But he won't, because he's chosen to enable you and Vanessa for 7 years instead of standing up for his own daughter. So I'm done waiting for him to do the right thing. You ungrateful little... Excuse me." Lauren's voice cut through the tension as she stepped forward. "Mrs. Morgan, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. This is a private event and you weren't invited." Patricia turned her fury on Lauren. "I have every right to be here. I'm her stepmother." "You're a guest at a separate event," Lauren said firmly, "and the person hosting this event has asked you to leave. If you don't go voluntarily, I'll have to call security. Patricia looked back at me, her expression a mixture of rage and disbelief. This isn't over, Gianna. Your father will hear about this. I'm sure he will, I said quietly. Goodbye, Patricia. She stormed out, nearly knocking into one of my guests who was coming in from the parking lot. I stood there for a moment, shaking slightly from the adrenaline, until Maya appeared and wrapped her arms around me. I heard raised voices. Are you okay? I'm fine, I said. And surprisingly, I meant it. Actually, I'm better than fine. I just stood up to her for the first time in 7 years. Maya squeezed me tighter. I'm so proud of you. Now come on, let's get back to your party. You have about 60 people in there who want to celebrate you. When I walked back into the main room, several people looked at me with concern, clearly having noticed the disruption. Uncle James made his way over immediately. Everything all right? Everything's perfect, I said, and I realized I meant it. Patricia's confrontation hadn't ruined anything. If anything, it had made me feel more certain that I'd made the right choice. The party continued, somehow even better than before. At 7 p.m., the caterers brought out the main dinner service, and people gathered around the buffet tables, raving about the food. I overheard multiple conversations comparing the quality of my party to what they'd seen or heard about next door. Around 7:30 p.m., something unexpected happened. My dad's colleague, Richard Bennett, who'd been at the baby shower, came over to the garden terrace. He approached me near the dessert table with an apologetic smile. Gianna, I have to apologize. Your father has been talking about Vanessa's shower for weeks, so I assumed that was the main event today. But when my wife and I stopped by there, it was just, well, it was underwhelming. And then we heard the music coming from over here and saw people we knew heading this direction, and we realized we'd made a mistake. I'm sorry we didn't come here first. But I want you to know that what you've accomplished, both with your degree and with putting together this celebration, is really impressive. Thank you, Richard, I said. I'm just glad you could make it. More people trickled in from the baby shower over the next hour. Some came openly, while others arrived quietly as if hoping no one would notice they'd switched venues. Each time I welcomed them without making a big deal about it. I wasn't interested in rubbing anyone's face in it. I just wanted to enjoy my night. At 8:00 p.m., Tony the DJ announced that it was time for some dedications. Several of my friends got up and said brief, heartfelt words about our time in college together. Maya gave a speech that made half the room cry, talking about how I'd been there for her during her worst moments and how I deserved all the success coming my way. Then Uncle James asked for the microphone. I've known Gianna since she was born, he said. I watched her lose her mother way too young. I watched her navigate a complicated family situation with grace. And I watched her work harder than any young person I've ever seen to achieve her dreams. Gianna, your mom would be so incredibly proud of you today. We all are. Congratulations, graduate. The room erupted in applause. And I had to excuse myself to the bathroom because I was full-on crying and didn't want to ruin my makeup even more than the tears already had. When I came back out, Sophie intercepted me with her phone. Okay, you need to see this. Your party is trending locally on Instagram. The hashtag #ToyGiannisGradGlowUp has over 300 posts, and people are calling this the best graduation party they've ever been to. I scrolled through the posts in disbelief. Guest after guest had shared photos and videos, the beautiful decorations, the food, the dancing, candid shots of people laughing and celebrating. The energy and joy were palpable in every image. Meanwhile, I could see a few posts tagged at the Riverside Pavilion from the baby shower. They were fine, perfectly nice photos of pastel decorations and Vanessa opening gifts. But there was a noticeable difference in engagement. Where my party had hundreds of likes and comments on every post, the baby shower posts had maybe 20 or 30. I felt a moment of guilt, wondering if I'd gone too far. Then I remembered Patricia screaming at me in the lobby, my dad choosing the shower over my party, and Vanessa's dismissive "lol" text. No, I'd done nothing wrong. I'd simply celebrated myself in the way I deserved. At 8:45 p.m., something happened that I hadn't expected. Through the window, I saw Vanessa herself standing in the parking lot, looking toward the garden terrace. She was wearing a light blue maternity dress, one hand on her belly, and she looked lost. Upset, maybe. Or just overwhelmed. For a brief moment, I felt sorry for her. Then she pulled out her phone, took a selfie with her baby shower venue in the background, and walked back inside the Riverside Pavilion. The moment of sympathy evaporated. The night continued with dancing, laughing, and celebration. Nathan captured everything: the speeches, the dancing, the candid moments of pure joy. This was exactly what I'd hoped for when I'd first imagined my graduation party months ago. This was my moment, and I was taking it. As 9:05 p.m. approached and the party showed no signs of slowing down, I realized something important. I'd won. Not because my party was objectively better, though it was. Not because more people chose my celebration over Vanessa's shower, though they had. I'd won because I'd stood up for myself. I'd refused to be diminished. I'd claimed my space and my moment, and no one, not Patricia, not Vanessa, not even my dad, had been able to take that away from me. This was my graduation. This was my party. And I was finally visible. By 9:30 p.m., the garden terrace was still packed with people who showed no signs of leaving. The dance floor was crowded, the energy was electric, and Tony, the DJ, was absolutely killing it with his song selections. I was dancing with my college friends when Kayla suddenly grabbed my arm and pointed toward the windows. The Riverside Pavilion next door was dark. Completely dark. The baby shower had ended. I checked my watch. Their event had been scheduled until 8 p.m., and it was now well past that. They'd apparently wrapped up on time, or maybe even early, while my party was still going strong an hour and a half later. "They're done," Sophie said, appearing next to me with her phone. "And girl, you need to see this." She showed me Vanessa's Instagram. She'd posted a final photo from the baby shower about 20 minutes earlier. It was a picture of her with Patricia, both holding up champagne glasses, sparkling cider for Vanessa, with a caption that read, "Thank you to everyone who came to celebrate baby boy Morgan today. Feeling so blessed and loved. Baby shower a blessed mama." The comments section, though, was interesting. Most were generic congratulations, but there were a few that caught my attention. "Looks beautiful." "Sorry we couldn't make it," from someone I knew had been at my party the whole time. "Congrats. We stopped by but had another commitment," from my dad's colleague who'd switched venues. Several comments from people I didn't recognize, which made me wonder if Vanessa had even noticed how many expected guests had been missing. "Don't look at that," Maya said, gently taking Sophie's phone away. "Tonight isn't about them. It's about you." She was right. I pushed all thoughts of the baby shower out of my mind and went back to dancing. At 10:08 p.m., Lauren approached me with a smile. "Gianna, just wanted to let you know that we're perfectly fine going past the scheduled end time if you want to keep the party going. You paid for the space until 9 p.m., but we have no events tomorrow, and your guests are clearly having an amazing time. If you want to extend for another hour or two, it's on the house." I was stunned by the generosity. "Are you serious?" "Completely serious. This has been one of the most joyful events we've hosted. We'd love to keep the celebration going." I agreed immediately, and Lauren made an announcement that the party would continue. The guests cheered, and the music got even louder. Around 10:30 p.m., my phone started buzzing with texts. The first was from my dad. "We need to talk. Call me tomorrow. Nothing else." No congratulations on my graduation. No acknowledgement of the party. Just a demand to talk. I deleted the message without responding. The second text was from a number I didn't recognize. "Hi, Gianna. This is Bethany Cooper from the Riverside Pavilion. I know this is unprofessional, but I just wanted to say congratulations on your graduation and your incredible party. I could hear the energy from next door all night. You should be very proud. Bethany." That made me smile. Even Vanessa's venue coordinator had recognized that my celebration was something special. At 11:00 p.m., the party finally started winding down. Guests began saying their goodbyes, hugging me, thanking me for an unforgettable night. Several people mentioned that this was the best party they'd been to in years. Some of my college friends were already planning to use the garden terrace for their own future events. Uncle James and Aunt Sharon were among the last to leave. Uncle James pulled me aside before they headed out. "Gianna, I want you to know something. Your dad called me during the baby shower. He was upset about people leaving to come to your party, and he wanted me to talk to them, to convince them to come back." "What did you tell him?" I asked. "I told him that people made their own choices, and maybe he should think about why so many people chose your celebration over Vanessa's shower." He didn't like that answer. Uncle James squeezed my shoulder. "I'm proud of you for standing your ground, sweetheart. Don't let anyone make you feel bad about celebrating yourself." By midnight, only my closest friends remained. We helped Lauren's team with basic cleanup, though they insisted we didn't have to. The caterers packed up the leftover food, and there was a lot of it, and divided it among me and my friends to take home. Nathan had finished his videography work around 11 p.m. and promised to have a highlight reel ready within a week. The photographer had taken over 400 photos throughout the night. Sophie had managed to document everything on social media, and the Michi, the Gianna's Grad Glow Up hashtag now has over 500 posts. Maya, Destiny, Sophie, Chris, Kayla, and Derek came back to my apartment with me. We were exhausted but still buzzing with adrenaline. We sat around my living room eating leftover cake and scrolling through all the photos and videos from the night. "Can we talk about how Patricia literally showed up to yell at you and you completely shut her down?" Destiny said. "That was iconic. I've been waiting 7 years for that moment," I admitted. "It felt good to finally say everything I've been holding back." My phone buzzed again. Another text from an unknown number, but this one made my blood boil. "This is Vanessa. I can't believe you ruined my baby shower. Everyone was talking about your party instead of celebrating my pregnancy." "You're so selfish." "I hope you're happy. I showed the text to my friends." Maya immediately grabbed my phone. "Do not respond to that. She's just upset that her shower didn't go the way she wanted, and she's blaming you instead of accepting that maybe people just weren't that excited about it." "She's right," Chris added. "You didn't ruin anything. You just threw a better party. That's not your fault." I decided to block Vanessa's number. I was done engaging with the drama. Around 1 a.m., everyone finally headed home. I was alone in my apartment, still in my emerald dress, looking at the photos from the night. In every single picture, I looked happy, genuinely, radiantly happy. Not the forced smile I'd worn in family photos for years, but real joy. I thought about everything that had happened. The confrontation with Patricia. My dad chose the baby shower. Vanessa's accusatory text. None of it had ruined my night. If anything, it had made my celebration feel even more meaningful because I'd created it entirely on my own terms. Before I went to bed, I posted one final photo to Instagram. It was a candid shot Nathan had captured of me on the dance floor, laughing with my friends, the string lights creating a halo effect around us. The caption was simple: "To new beginnings, to stand your ground, and to celebrate yourself unapologetically. Thank you to everyone who made tonight unforgettable. This is what happens when you stop shrinking yourself to fit other people's comfort zones." Wearing Gianna's Grad Glow Up, Northwestern 2025, Irish first-generation graduate. Within minutes, the post had over 100 likes and dozens of comments. Friends, family members who'd attended, even some acquaintances I hadn't talked to in years, all supporting me, congratulating me, telling me how inspiring my night had been. I woke up Sunday morning to 47 notifications on my phone. Most were more Instagram comments and likes, but there was also an email from my dad with the subject line, "We need to have a serious conversation about your behavior." I didn't open it. Not yet. I wasn't ready to deal with whatever guilt trip or lecture he had prepared. Instead, I made myself coffee, sat on my balcony in the morning sun, and called Uncle James. "Morning, graduate," he answered warmly. "How are you feeling?" "Honestly, I feel amazing. Tired but amazing. Good, you should. You earned every moment of that celebration." He paused. "I'm guessing you've heard from your father?" "He sent texts and an email demanding to talk." "I haven't responded yet," Uncle James sighed. Your dad called me at 7 a.m. this morning. He's furious. Patricia apparently had a complete meltdown last night about how your party embarrassed Vanessa and made the baby shower look inferior. They're blaming you for everything. Guests leaving. People comparing the two events. The whole thing. That's not my problem, I said firmly. I didn't do anything to them. I just celebrated my own achievement. I know that, and I told your father exactly that. But he's not in a place to hear it right now. He's choosing to see this as you deliberately sabotaging Vanessa's shower, rather than recognizing that he and Patricia created this situation by taking your venue and date in the first place. So what do? You do exactly what you did last night. You stand your ground. Your dad needs to figure out on his own that he's been enabling Patricia and Vanessa at your expense. You can't make him see that. He has to get there himself. After we hung up, I finally opened my dad's email. It was exactly what I'd expected. A long, angry message about how I'd humiliated the family, how I'd been vindictive and petty, how I'd deliberately tried to steal attention from Vanessa's important day. He demanded that I apologize to both Patricia and Vanessa and admit that what I'd done was wrong. I read the entire thing once, then deleted it without responding. I wasn't apologizing for celebrating myself. I wasn't apologizing for throwing a party at my own venue on a date that worked for me. And I definitely wasn't apologizing for the fact that people had chosen to attend my celebration over Vanessa's baby shower. I'd worked too hard and come too far to let anyone make me feel guilty for taking up space. The rest of Sunday was peaceful. I fielded congratulatory calls from relatives who'd attended the party. I organized all the photos from the photographer into albums. I started writing thank you notes to everyone who'd come and everyone who'd helped make the night possible, and I started my new job in 2 weeks with my head held high, knowing that I'd stood up for myself when it mattered most. Whatever happened next with my family, I could handle it, because I'd already proven to myself that I was strong enough to choose myself, even when it was hard. 2 weeks passed after the party, and I didn't hear a single word from my dad, Patricia, or Vanessa. The silence was deafening, but honestly, it was also peaceful. I'd spent years walking on eggshells around them, constantly trying to manage their emotions and keep the peace. Not having to do that anymore felt liberating. During those 2 weeks, Nathan sent me the highlight video he'd created. I sat in my apartment and watched it 3 times in a row, tears streaming down my face. He'd captured everything: the joy, the laughter, the dancing, the emotional speeches. He'd even included subtle shots of the Riverside Pavilion next door, dark and empty, while my party raged on. The final shot was me on the dance floor, surrounded by friends, looking genuinely happy. The video was set to an uplifting song, and the whole thing was incredibly professional. I posted a 30-second teaser on Instagram with a link to the full video, and it went viral locally. Within 3 days, it had over 50,000 views. People were sharing it with captions like, "This is how you celebrate yourself." And the energy in this video is everything. Several local event planning companies reached out asking if they could use clips for their promotional materials. One wedding planner even offered me a discount if I ever needed her services, saying my party had inspired her. The video also caught the attention of a local lifestyle blogger named Jennifer Wade, who ran a popular Chicago area blog called Midwest Celebrations. She reached out asking if she could feature my story. I agreed to an interview, and when the article went live, it framed my graduation party as an example of boundary setting and self-celebration in the face of family pressure. The article was sympathetic to my side, and it spread across Facebook among people in the Naperville area. That's when things got complicated. 3 days after the article was published, I got a call from Aunt Sharon. She sounded stressed. "Gianna, honey, I wanted to give you a heads up. Patricia saw the article about your party, and she's absolutely livid. She's telling everyone you gave an interview to trash talk the family publicly." "I didn't trash talk anyone," I said defensively. "I just told the truth about what happened. I know that. But Patricia is spinning it differently. She's saying you're purposely trying to humiliate them, and she's got your dad completely convinced that you're the villain here." I felt a knot form in my stomach. What do you think I should do? Honestly, nothing. You can't control how they react. You told your story, and it resonated with people because it's relatable. Don't let Patricia bully you into apologizing for that. The next day, my dad finally called. Not texted, actually called. I almost didn't answer, but I knew avoiding him forever wasn't realistic. Gianna, we need to meet in person. This has gone too far. His voice was cold, controlled anger. The tone he used when he was trying not to yell but was furious underneath. Okay, I said. When and where? Tomorrow. 2:00 p.m. The coffee shop on Main Street in Naperville. The coffee shop was neutral territory, a public place. I agreed and spent the rest of the day mentally preparing for whatever confrontation was coming. When I arrived at the coffee shop the next afternoon, my dad was already there, sitting at a corner table with his arms crossed. He looked tired, older somehow. I ordered a coffee and sat down across from him. Hi, Dad. Gianna. He didn't smile. We need to talk about what you've done. What have I done? I kept my voice calm. You mean throwing a graduation party? You know exactly what I mean. The party next to Vanessa's shower, the interview with that blogger, turning family drama into public entertainment. Patricia is devastated. Vanessa has been crying for days because she feels like you deliberately tried to ruin the happiest time of her life. I took a sip of my coffee, buying myself a moment to think. Dad, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't regret a single thing I did. You and Patricia took my venue and my date without asking. You expected me to just accept that and celebrate my graduation at Vanessa's baby shower. That wasn't reasonable, and I wasn't going to agree to it. So you decided to throw a competing party to embarrass her? I decided to throw my party at a different venue. The fact that people chose to attend my celebration instead of her shower isn't something I controlled. People made their own decisions. Because you made your party bigger and flashier to show her up. His voice was rising now, and a few other coffee shop patrons glanced over. I made my party exactly what I wanted it to be, I said firmly. I'm sorry if that made Vanessa feel bad, but I'm not going to apologize for celebrating my own accomplishment the way I wanted to. My dad stared at me like he didn't recognize me. When did you become so selfish? That word again, selfish. It was their favorite weapon to use against me. I'm not selfish for wanting to celebrate graduating with honors from one of the best universities in the country. I'm not selfish for being proud of landing a job that's going to change my life. And I'm not selfish for refusing to make myself smaller so Vanessa can feel bigger. That's not what this is about. Yes, it is, Dad. It's been about that for 7 years. Ever since you married Patricia, I've had to shrink myself. I've had to accept less attention, less support, less consideration, all so Vanessa wouldn't feel threatened. I'm done doing that. He shook his head. You're twisting everything. Patricia and I have always treated you fairly. You told me my dead mother would be disappointed in me because I wouldn't give up my graduation party. You really think that's fair? He flinched. For a moment, I thought I'd gotten through to him, but then his expression hardened again. I said that in anger. But you're the one who escalated everything by throwing that party and then talking to that blogger. The blogger asked me about a celebration that went viral. I told her the truth. I didn't name anyone. I didn't attack anyone. I just explained what happened. And you made us look like the bad guys. If you look like the bad guys, maybe it's because of your choices, not mine. The silence that followed was heavy. My dad looked at me with this mixture of anger and something else. Maybe hurt. Maybe disappointment. Finally, he said, Patricia wants you to apologize. To her and to Vanessa. She says, until you do, you're not welcome at family gatherings. I'd been expecting this ultimatum, but hearing it still stung. And what do you want, Dad? He hesitated. I want my family to get along. That's not an answer. Do you think I owe them an apology? Another pause. I think you could have handled this differently. That's still not an answer. Do you think I was wrong to celebrate my graduation? He couldn't say yes. Even he couldn't go that far. I think you knew what you were doing would cause problems. I knew standing up for myself would upset Patricia. But that doesn't mean I was wrong to do it. I stood up, leaving my barely touched coffee on the table. Dad, I love you. But I'm not apologizing for celebrating myself. If Patricia wants to ban me from family events because of that, that's her choice. But I'm done shrinking myself to keep her comfortable. Gianna, wait. I start my new job on Monday. I'm moving forward with my life. When you're ready to be proud of me instead of disappointed in me, you know where to find me? I walked out of the coffee shop before he could respond. My hands shaking, but my resolve solid. Monday came, and I started my new job at the tech company in Chicago. The office was modern and exciting, full of brilliant people working on innovative projects. My manager, a woman named Dr. Lisa Thornton, welcomed me enthusiastically and introduced me to the team. Within hours, I felt more valued and appreciated at work than I had in years with my family. Over the next month, life moved forward. I made new friends at work. I went out with Maya and my college crew on weekends. I decorated my apartment and started building a life that was entirely my own, free from the constant weight of family drama. Uncle James and Aunt Sharon stayed in touch. They invited me to Tyler's birthday dinner and made sure I knew I was always welcome in their home. Your family, Gianna, Aunt Sharon said. No matter what's happening with your dad and Patricia. I never heard from my dad again after that coffee shop meeting. No calls, no texts, no emails. Part of me was heartbroken by that silence. But a bigger part of me recognized that his silence was a choice to prioritize Patricia's feelings over his daughter's happiness. Vanessa had her baby in August, a boy named Mason. I saw the announcement on Instagram. I didn't reach out and neither did she. We were strangers now, connected only by the thinnest thread of family history. As for me, I thrived. My job challenged me in the best ways. I got promoted 6 months in. I traveled to conferences. I made real friends who celebrated my wins and supported me through challenges. I dated, went to concerts, explored Chicago, and built a life I was genuinely excited about. Sometimes people ask me if I regret what I did, the party, the confrontation, the interview. My answer is always the same. No, not even a little bit. That graduation party wasn't just about celebrating a degree. It was about choosing myself for the first time in 7 years. It was about refusing to be invisible. It was about standing up and saying, I matter too. And looking back now, months later, I can say with complete certainty, that party was the best decision I ever made. Because it wasn't just a celebration of my past, it was the beginning of my future. A future where I don't apologize for taking up space. A future where I celebrate my wins unapologetically. A future where I surround myself with people who genuinely want the best for me. So to anyone watching this who's ever been made to feel like they're asking for too much, who's ever been called selfish for wanting to celebrate themselves, who's ever been told to be the bigger person, while others take what's rightfully yours, I want you to know, you deserve to celebrate yourself. You deserve to be seen. You deserve to take up space. And if the people who are supposed to love you can't handle that, that's their problem, not yours. My name is Gianna Taylor. I graduated with honors from Northwestern University. I threw the party of a lifetime, and I've never looked back. Thanks for listening to my story. Looking for more? We've got 2 amazing stories ready for you right on screen. If this one touched you, these are absolutely worth your time. Click to watch them now. And hey, subscribe and hit that bell to never miss our latest uploads.